headed off early in the morning as we had a long drive before arriving for the 11:30 train departing from Castlemaine in regional Victoria. And a big thank you to June's Journey for sponsoring this video, but more on that later. We were so excited to board the steam train as we were going to be travelling in the beautiful first-class carriages. Walking through the corridor, you can't help but feel like you've just boarded a train in 1907 and are about to set off on a long journey through the Australian countryside surrounded by all the Edwardian splendour within the carriage. The intricate details in the interior of the cabins transports you further back in time. The carefully carved timber, metal detailings, the slightly dusty mirror, and the perfectly imperfect tarnishes in the wooden panels of each cabin. This elegant parlour carriage even had an end platform for viewing the vast open scenery of the Australian bush. These first-class carriages were originally sleeping carriages and have since been transformed into a first-class lounge. Steam trains have been an important form of transport in Victoria since 1854. They were essential in the daily experiences of Victorians for generations. Visiting family in another state, posting off a birthday present, and farmers sending off their harvest to market would have been near impossible without these locomotives. Transport was more prevalent than ever, helping people move to and fro easily from the city, the booming goldfields, and small regional towns. Before steam trains were introduced in Australia, people travelled by horse-drawn carriage or by boat. We stopped off for lunch in the historic little town of Malden. It was once a thriving, bustling township at the start of the gold rush period in 1854. All the shop fronts were completely original and true to the era. After some lunch and exploring, we headed back to the train to continue our journey back to Castlemaine. The first-class parlour car, called Tambo, was built in 1919 and was originally a sleeping carriage back in the day. It has since been brought back to its former glory and completely restored with timber, metal and light fittings reproduced from original designs. Even the intricate pressed metal detailing in the ceiling of the carriage has charm. You might recognize this hallway or the little cabins within the carriage because this train was in Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries. And after filming the train, we happened to notice that we were standing in the exact same spot as Miss Fisher. Look closely at the text on the carriage. And if you haven't seen Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries, it is an Australian TV series that follows Miss Phryne Fisher as she solves crime in the 1920s. And if you enjoy murder mysteries and like the 1920s, then I think you will enjoy the sponsor of today's video, June's Journey. June's Journey is a hidden object mystery game that is set in the 1920s. The story tells June Parker's quest to solve the mysterious murder of her sister and uncover hidden family secrets. The game is free to download on mobile, which means I've been playing it in bed and in the morning with a cup of tea. Your task is to find objects hidden in each of the beautiful, colourful, carefully crafted scenes. There really is something quite relaxing about searching for the different objects in each scene, and I find each new scene really helps to immerse you in June's story as you quest to uncover new clues. The game is lightly challenging, but really satisfying when you pull off a swift run of spotting all of the objects. Each time you replay a certain scene, the game will ask you to spot different objects, which keeps it really refreshing. As you start to master a scene, you will uncover new clues that tell more of June's story. The game puts your sense of observation to the test and has been a fun way to escape. I've really enjoyed playing June's Journey, and I think you will too. If you want to download the game for free, see the first link in the description. Now, the second carriage attached to the Tambo is called the Macedon. This was built between the 1920s and the 1930s and was also originally a sleeping car. Later on, the Macedon was left neglected and unused, so it was recently purchased and restored to its original Art Deco style. This first-class lounge and parlour car even has a cute little bar that separates the carriage down the middle. With the steam train slowly winding through the sparse, dry bushland, we neared the end of our journey. But there was one last carriage we wanted to have a look at. The charming economy carriage. These cars were built between 1906 and 1911. The wooden cabins were used for long-distance express services in the early 20th century. They had really comfy seats and overhead space for luggage for all those long journeys through regional Victoria. Steam trains remained the popular mode of transport up until the 1950s when diesel locomotives were introduced. Sadly, our wonderful journey had come to an end. We had such a lovely experience travelling on the Victorian Goldfields Railway. The staff who volunteered their time were incredibly hospitable and generous, so if you're in the Melbourne area, I would definitely recommend stopping by. Thanks so much for watching!